Welcome back to the smartest corner of Pokemon investing. Today, I will be talking about a once in a lifetime opportunity. Now, this opportunity, in my opinion, I don't know if it'll come again because it's just such a good opportunity, but you needed all the stars to line up. And I don't really want to waste your time. We've got a lot of information to break through in this video. So let's get straight to it. I just want to say, guys, please do consider subscribing and liking. If you do enjoy the content, it helps out the channel a lot, but let's begin. Alrighty, so what is this once in a lifetime opportunity? Well, it's basically the fact that generally with investing, you don't really want a lot of people to be holding it, and also you don't want a lot of whales. Whales can destroy the longevity of an item very, very easily. I'll give you a good example. A good example is the unlimited base set booster box. So the first edition box came out and it was first edition, so there wasn't really a lot going around. Now, you had a couple large whales of Pokemon investors like 20 plus years ago, and they bought up thousands of unlimited boxes. And we still feel the ripple effects of that to this day. Now, that box is incredibly expensive, but if you compare that to Neo Genesis, Skyridge, first edition base set, you compare it to those, and realistically, the price that base set is at isn't really a lot. And the reason is because you've had a couple whales buy thousands of boxes and they've slowly trickled it out. You might think I'm full of shit. You might think that's not true. All right, the Suicune Gold Star situation. Someone stole thousands of Suicune Gold Stars, and for about 10 plus years, he slowly trickled them into supply. The Suicune Gold Star as a PSA 10 is only about $2,000 as a PSA 10. You compare that to other Gold Stars, 50k, 20k, 100k, 150k. It's pennies on the dollar because you have large holders slowly offloading and preventing it from booming. And the reason why we see Sun and Moon boxes so expensive like Team Up and Unbroken Bonds is a big contributing factor is that there weren't really a lot of people investing at the time. You had a lot of people investing very early with Pokemon, and then you've had people investing very recently, but then you had like this really long like decade and a half where no one was really investing. So you have team up boxes where there's not really a lot of selling pressure. Even if you want to buy 20, you can't. Like, you say you want to buy 20, you simply just can't. It is a whole task to own 20 team-up boxes. Even 5, it is difficult to own. And then we get to Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield has done tremendous in price gain. However, you compare it to Sun and Moon, and you can clearly see there were a lot of holders for Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield, you could buy 100 Fusion Strike booster box cases if you wanted to. $600 a case, no questions asked, no issue. Now we skip to Scarlet and Violet. Now with Scarlet and Violet, no one's hoarding it. No one is owning thousands and thousands of prismatic ETBs. No one is holding thousands and thousands of Destined Rivals booster boxes. It is near impossible. You can't really do it because there's not that many available. So what we're seeing is potentially we could see almost like a repeat from Sun and Moon, similar to Scarlet and Violet with Prismatic. I think Prismatic could do absolute numbers in the future. A big contributing factor will be simply no one was able to hoard it. There was no lull time when nobody wanted it. And if you don't believe me, if you think I'm just saying like rubbish here, take a look at Charizard UPCs. Charizard UPCs are roughly a little bit more, but they're roughly the same price of Prismatic SPCs. It has less promos, less content, more expensive, and it's newer, yet it's almost the same price. You want to know why? The reason why is because Charizard UPCs were printed into the oblivion where there were many months where you could just buy as much of it as you wanted. I remember buying sealed cases of Charizard UPCs for like $300. In fact, one I think I even got at like $280 or something. It was ridiculous for a sealed UPC. That was the market that we were in back in the day. And that market allowed massive whales to buy up tons of it. With Scarlet and Violet, it's a different ball game. What Scarlet and Violet has done is, this is what I really like about Scarlet and Violet, is it has made it where they've spread out all of the holders, right? Like people say there's more people investing in Pokemon now than ever. Yes and no. Yes, there are more numbers, there are more human beings, there are more heads investing in Pokemon, absolutely. But whales can't get enough of Pokemon, so it kind of evens out, right? Like Sword and Shield, you had less numbers, less heads actually investing in Pokemon. However, each one could hold a shit ton. I'll use myself as an example. Sword and Shield, I had 22 boxes of Fusion Strike, cases of Evolving Skies, cases of Chilling Reign, Brilliant Stars, Lost Origin, Silver Tempest. I had more Pokemon than you could dream of. However, that was not hard to get. And guess what? This is really funny. It's the bundle displays, okay? 10 of these, that's what I've got. I've got 10 of these dudes, right? So that costed me about 1350. We'll say 1350. So it costed me $13,500 for 10 of them, okay? USD. All right, it was less. Actually, I bought it for $1,000. Okay, $10,000. It cost me $10,000 for them. Okay, so $10,000 of Sword and Shield, you would be able to buy what, 12, 13 cases of Fusion Strike, probably even more. Yeah, I'd probably say more. Yeah, you could buy around there, definitely more. Probably like 15 cases of Fusion Strike, dude. 15 cases? How long would it take the market to absorb 15 cases of Fusion Strike right now? If you listed 15 cases of Fusion Strike right now, it would take the market a couple months to absorb it. Okay, maybe not a couple months. It would take the market a couple weeks to absorb it. And provide you're actually selling it at market price. If you actually sell 15 cases of Fusion Strike, it would take the market a good while to digest that. What does that do? Well, that weighs down buying pressure and that lifts up selling pressure. Because you know what that does? That makes it more difficult for the floor price to increase because there's a large supply on the market. It's very easy to hoard it. And I think that's a big reason why Sword and Shield isn't really more expensive. Because I was doing the numbers and I was looking at it and I was like, this is really, really weird. Like I was looking at it, I was like, okay, the age that Sword and Shield is at compared to the age that Sun and Moon was, like when Sun and Moon was 4 years old, I was looking at it, I was going, I don't know, Sword and Shield is mispriced by about 50%. Evolving Skies should be a little bit more. Fusion Strike should be like 13 to 1500. Lost Origin should be like $1,200. I was like, why are these so cheap? They're like mispriced by about 50%. But then a viewer commented and he said, well, hang on, there was much more Sword and Shield available. So even though it makes sense Sword and Shield is actually more, I think it should be way more than what it's at. However, the market needs time to digest it because there's a lot going around. But you look at Prismatic, oh my goodness, do you want to know what a whale of Prismatic is? You're going to laugh at this. You want to know what like a large holder is considered? Having 10 cases of ETBs. 10 cases. Back in the day, 10 cases was nothing. 10 cases would set you back a measly 6K. Now, if you want to buy 10 cases, you're going to drop like $20,000 just for the entry, not to sell. No, just the entry to buy it. Now, just because it's more expensive, it doesn't mean people open it up less. No. That is not how this market works at all. People just go into more debt. Or people just work more shifts, okay? People don't really go ahead and go, oh, okay, Prismatic is 120 in ETB. I'm going to buy 2 Pokemon Go ETBs and happy days. No, they just want to buy quality. Whatever the best set is, they'll just open it up. They don't care about the price per pack and the top chase and PSA. No, they just want to open up a good quality set. If Prismatic booster packs are $20 and then Pokemon Go is $5, they're not going to open up 4 Pokemon Go. They're going to open up Prismatic. So people still open up the same amounts, just basically the only difference is that there's less going around. Now, remember earlier how I was talking about how there are more heads holding Pokemon, but there's less whales holding Pokemon? Well, why is this such a big deal? Well, most people investing in Pokemon aren't actually investing in Pokemon. Most people just open it up. So there's like almost like 7 stages of grief, but with Pokemon investing. So like stage number 1 is temptation to open it up. So you buy a booster box to open up. Let's just say you buy Prismatic booster bundle. Your 7 stages of grief whenever it comes to Pokemon investing. For the record, a whale doesn't care. He has brown cardboard boxes in his storage locker or his warehouse, so he doesn't care. He doesn't have any temptation to open it up. But we're talking about the heads, because the same amount of Pokemon investing is at play pretty much. It's just the only difference is it's spread out to more holders. And I'll tell you why this is a good thing for the actual like locked in smart investors that aren't just going to open up everything. Okay, so first of all, I know tons of people who just opened up 10 cases of ETBs, of Prismatic ETBs. I know tons of people who have just opened up the shit out of Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, Mega Evolution. They're investing, they buy up the market, and then they just open it all up. So, stage number 1, the first stage of grief is a temptation to open it up. That's stage number one. When you buy the item, you want to open it up. And statistically, whales are less likely to open it up versus average Joes who buy like 1 to like 20 prismatic booster bundles. If you buy like 1,000, you're not just gonna like impulse open them all up, because realistically, if you have that much to invest, you're a little bit more responsible with your money. And I think that's why you can kind of see, like, I've had some people, not making fun of anybody, but I've had some people say to me, like, Sam, you should open up some of this, you just enjoy it a bit, which I appreciate you guys saying that. Trust me, I get my enjoyment from elsewhere, like, like going for walks, or I don't know, going to the gym, listening to music, whatever, shit like that. But some people have said, like, hey, Sam, you should open some of this up. Now, I don't want to be, like, cocky or anything. I'm not. But there's a reason why I have this and other people don't. The reason is because I don't open it up. And I don't mean that in a rude way, like I'm so cool. But at the end of the day, there's a reason why I have multiple house deposits of Pokemon. It's because I can fight the temptation and discipline myself to not open them. But most people don't make it past stage one. Alrighty, now let's just say you've made it past stage one. Congratulations. Well, there was a good couple months of just the market being a little dry, which for anyone who's been in the hobby more than like 12 months, you can vouch that the market is dry most of the time. I was talking about it in this video, so feel free to check that out after this video. But I was basically saying how usually the market is dry for 11 months, and then on the 12th month of the year, it just explodes, right? It's in this market, we've had like 11 months of the market doing really well, and now it's pulling back and people are asking what's going on. So what I was explaining was, I was basically saying like, hey, usually it's actually the other way around. So what usually happens is if you make it past stage one, the next stage is you just sell it because of impatience. You couldn't hold it because you were just impatient. You held it for a couple months, it didn't really do anything, and you're just impatient. Journey Together is a fantastic example. Oh boy, Journey Together for the first couple months, oh man, people were saying I was an idiot for holding on to it. Now that the Lillian Clefairy is breaking new all-time highs as PSA 10s and the box price have moved up a little bit, some people, not a lot of people, some people are actually moving towards, like, they like Journey Together. And also the Reshiram inside is absolutely taking off. So yeah, patience pays off. But think about how little people held on to that. Think about how many people got their pre-orders in. They thought, I'll just hold it for a couple of weeks, see where it goes. Didn't go anywhere. Meanwhile, hate to be that guy, I was locked in and I was like, no, you know what? I'm holding on to this. Lo and behold, these are doing pretty solid. I'm pretty happy with the returns I'm experiencing so far. I'm not going to realize anytime soon. Anyways, the second stage of grief is selling it because of boredom. Alrighty, the third stage is selling it because it went up like $5 and you're finally up. So people, honestly, almost everybody does this. Immediately once something goes up, people go like, oh, Sam, should I sell it? I bought a Paladin Fates display for $1,500. Now it's $1,700. Should I sell it? No, you shouldn't. But a lot of people do. And because a lot of people do, then what happens is they sell it and there's less investors. So there's more collectors, rip and shippers, store owners, sealed collectors, all that stuff, right? All those people are now holding on to it. All right, now, the fourth stage is once people double their money, usually they sell after that. And I actually have some data to back this up. So have you ever noticed how booster boxes, once it does its initial double in price, usually it doubles again really, really quickly? Like, have you noticed with Fusion Strike, it was dead at like $90 for the longest time? Once it finally doubled to 180, it went to 360 actually really, really quickly. The reason why is because there's a lot less holders, because a lot of people sell once they double their money. That's what a lot of people do. Very, very few people actually hold once they've doubled their money. So every single time it doubles again and again, the amount of holders drastically drops, drastically. So the fourth stage is selling once it's doubled in price. And I can't even think of any more stages, so that's realistically it of that. But because of this, whales don't go through any of these. Whales just hold the box. They have warehouses full of Pokemon and they just hold on to it. Now, here's the thing. A lot of normal people are all experiencing these stages of grief. So this is what's happening, right? The market is getting bought out by these supposed investors. Then 80% of them open up all the boxes that they have. They don't even make it past stage one. Okay, so let's just say 1,000 people invest. 80% open it up, so you've only got 200 investors left to go into the next stage. The next stage is selling it out of boredom. Let's just say that halves the amount of holders. So then it goes from 200 investors to 100 investors. Then you go into stage three. Stage three is where they sell once they're up like 10%. That slashes it again. So you go from 100 to 50. Notice how only a couple stages in, we've already slashed out 95% of investors. Then you get to the final one. Once you double your money, that slashes out like 70%. So then you go from like 50 to like what, 15, something like that. And then you got 15 people holding it. So it feels like, oh my goodness, everybody's holding Pokemon. No, those people are not holding. They think they're holding and they think that they're investors, but the second it actually goes up a substantial amount, or any of these other stages, they either open it, sell it out of boredom, or they start taking a little bit of profit, or once they've doubled their money, they're out. And then you got those long-term holders where they've been holding a Fusion Strike booster box from like $100 to like $1,000. You got very few of those people left. So yeah, that's the state of the market right now. Very, very little whales. A lot of people holding it, and those people are going to sell.